Greetings, Jelly Spoons. It is Friday, which means we are doing another part of the OC story, where I improvise my way through a story. You guys give me some prompts. You guys have sent me some more song suggestions, so we're going to be once again using the song lyrics to see what happens next. We are now going to get back into the story and see what happens next. We are going to hit shuffle on the many songs you guys have given me on this playlist, and we're going to see what happens next. So, shuffle is on. What happens now? This is The Horror and the Wild by the Amazing Devil. Ah, it's too loud! Too loud! Alright, so the lyrics for this bad boy go as follows. You are raised by wolves and voices. Every night I hear them howling deep beneath your bed. They say it all comes down to you. You're the daughter of silent watching stones. You watch the stars hurl all their fundaments in wonderment at you and yours, forever asking more. You are the space that's in between every page, every chord, and every screen. You are the driftwood and the rift. You're the words I promise I don't mean. We're drunk but drinking, some but sinking. They thought us blind, we were just blinking. I've used this song in so many character playlists. It just reminds me of the Black Dog a lot. All the stones and kings of old will hear us screaming at the cold. Remember me, I ask. Remember me, I sing. Give me back my heart, you wingless thing. Again, if we were doing the Assassin and the Prince story, if we had Darrow right now, then this song would be so easy to turn into angst and torment. But I have promised a slightly different vibe this time, slightly more kid-friendly, family-friendly, less terror and danger and gore, none of that, absolutely none of that, and I've promised solemnly that nothing bad will happen to Dewnup, and if anything bad does happen, he'll be absolutely fine, I promise. So, in a way, that's more of a challenge. I now have to take songs like this and put them into this happier fantasy world. So, remember me, I ask, remember me, I sing, give me back my heart, you wingless thing. Think of all the horrors that I promised you I'd bring. I promise you they'll sing of every time you pass your fingers through my hair and call me child. Witness me, old man, I am the wild. You're the son of every dressing up box, I am time itself. I slow to let you play, I steal hours and turn night into day. By day, O Lord, three things I pray that might understand as best I can how bold I was. Still am, fret not, dear heart, let not them hear the mutterings of your fears, the fluttering of all your wings. Welcome to the storm. Alright, well, we could take this literally and use the word storm. So I think I'm going to do that. Alright, so wings and wingless thing. Give me back my heart, you wingless thing. I kind of want to use that quite a lot. I also want this maybe be a moment for our witch, Rita. Maybe she can stand up for everybody, she can help everyone out, she can do something. So maybe a storm starts to roll in. They walk for most of the day, and this witch sort of exists in this huge boggy swampland. It goes on for miles, so she was very willing to accompany them for many, many days to get to at least the outskirts of that, and if she decided to go further than the bog, she would have gone further. Oh my goodness, she's a bog witch. Excellent. So they keep going. They journey for most of the day, and they're planning they will, set up a camp at some point during the night time. And as the afternoon rolls on and maybe evening starts to fall, they feel splatters and splashes. And maybe Stimper has been flying ahead a little bit, looking ahead to spot these flowers that are still blooming and glistening and magical from where the lights have passed them. And he can't fly anymore because his wings won't fly very well in the rain. They get wet, they get heavy, that kind of thing. Even in this magical world, wings and water still doesn't work very well. So he comes and lands, and maybe he has a fun moment. Maybe we can twist that lyric a bit of give me back my heart, you wingless thing. Maybe Dewnup has been a little sad that he can't fly. He doesn't have wings himself. He's just a fluffy, fuzzy little guy. And at this point, maybe Stimper can say something sweet to him, like, having wings sometimes isn't always that great. You can't fly whenever you want. It gets so tiring to fly. It's like sprinting all the time, when instead of give me back my heart, you wingless thing, maybe it can be a sort of little joke to show that he's also feeling a bit better about himself, and to sort of, pick Dewnup up a little bit because he is such a small, tiny little guy, and he can say, well, you can keep walking for hours. You're so, brave and strong and stoic, and I have to take a breath because I've been flying too much and now it's raining, and oh no. And Dewnup has got his cute little hat on as well. Maybe he's got a little umbrella. Maybe the witch has an umbrella, actually. I take it back. So the witch, Rita, has a massive umbrella, and it's been made of really long sort of porcupine-style spikes, and it's got beautiful colours on it, all different colours and shades of green and emerald, and maybe some orangey colours as well. So very natural, so lots of also like a rainbow of red and orange and green, that kind of thing. She's got this big umbrella, and she poofs it up, and all these little spiders sort of dangle out of it, and insects and flies, and the hedgehog looks up like, whoa, out of her top pocket, that kind of thing, and she holds it above all of them as they walk along, getting through this mud and the rain, and the swamp starts to get churned and bubbly and thick, and maybe it is a little bit daunting, not quite scary, because I don't want to lean too much into that. Again, we're not Darrow right now. So it's getting a little bit treacherous underfoot. It's getting a little bit scary for someone like Dewnup, who's very, very small, but he's still plodding through. If he has, like, welly boots in his bag, he has some galoshes, he might put them on. That could be really adorable. Sorry, with his little welly boots. And they just keep plowing on through, and the witch leads them because she knows this land very, very well, so she leads them through the swamp to the higher ground bits, so they're not having to wade or swim or anything like that. So yes, a storm comes rolling in, and the witch uses her umbrella. Maybe she's got some magic in the umbrella, she can use it to sort of try and cast some of the clouds aside, that kind of thing. And I think that's as much as we're going to take from this song for now, so we will go to the next one. All right, next song is... it's called Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac. Alright, Alright, the lyrics go like this. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone. Why not think about times to come? And not about the things that you've done. If your life was bad to you, just think about what tomorrow will do. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll be here soon. It'll be here better than before. Yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile if it takes just a little while. I know you don't believe it's true. I never meant any harm to you. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll be here soon. Don't stop, yesterday's gone. Don't look back, don't look back. Okay. I didn't mean to hurt you. Maybe we're not going to take that line from this song instead. So... I know what this song is. This song is Dewnup singing his happy song. He is doing a donkey from Shrek, but it is even smaller and cuter, and the rain is pouring down, it's cold, they are trying to find a place to set up a camp, but even if they do find a place, it's all going to be dark and wet, they're not really going to be able to make a fire very well, so they sort of decide to just keep walking as far as they can, because they're still quite awake, and sitting down means they'll just get even wetter and colder and more miserable, so they decide... maybe we'll just walk through the night and then it will clear up in the daytime and we can catch up upon our sleep then. All right, so we're going to walk and walk and walk. And they're just getting so miserable and so tired. The witch is tired. The hedgehogs in her pockets are all tired and sad and wet and soggy. And all their cloaks, everything is wet and soggy. They try to share some food rations and some berries, but the berries fill up with water and everything's just cold and soggy. Stimper can't fly or anything, so he's walking, sort of holding himself. He's a very thin, sort of scribbly type character. And so he's clutching onto himself, shivering a little bit as they walk along, and Dewnup is saying things like, oh, thank you so much for coming with me, you didn't have to, it means a lot that you're helping me on this adventure, and the others are saying, of course we've come with you, don't be silly, of course we want to find Lilipah, it's very, very important, we're not going to turn back now. And so Dewnup starts to sing his happy song that he made up himself when he was a little tiny child, and he is still little and tiny, but he's not quite a child anymore, he's probably like early teens, I guess, and he starts to sing this song that lifts people's spirits, or so he hopes, and it goes pretty much, if you don't want to smile, it might take a while, but open your eyes and look at the day, you'll see things in a different way. Think about tomorrow, it'll be here soon, and it'll be better than ever before. Think about times to come, don't worry about what came behind. If all you want is to smile, it might just take a little while, that kind of thing. And he sings this utterly adorable song, and it's only got a few lines, and it just goes round and round, and he sings it a couple of times, and maybe the others ask, maybe the witchy Rita says, oh, what is that, dear? It's a lovely little song. Did you make that up yourself? And he says, I made it up myself, and it just makes me feel better when I'm feeling sad, and feeling cold and wet is a kind of sad. And so he sings it again, and the others join in. And by the fifth or sixth time round, because it hasn't got a lot of lines, they've all learnt the words, and they all just keep singing it over and over until the storm clears and the clouds sort of slowly bat away into the sky. And it's very, very, very early, probably gone through until like 3, 4 a.m. the next morning. And they find a little sort of circle of trees which have kept the rain off a little bit. And so they manage to put up a little camp where they don't necessarily have camping equipment, I don't think, in this fantasy world. So it's more like they gather big leaves and they pull them all overhead and they make a sort of like mini cave out of trees and leaves, that kind of thing. And they settle down and they get some sleep and they wake up and it's about midday the next day. So, all right, that was cute as hell. He sang his little happy song. What is coming next, Shuffle? Oh, this one's sad. Oh, I know this one. This one's on Gen's playlist. Okay, it's called Never Love an Anchor, and it's by the Crane Wives. Okay, it goes ooey ooey oo, whoa 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 whoa, ooey ooey oo, oey oey oh. On some level, I think I always understood that these hands of mine were clumsy, not clever, and I tried to do the best I could. But try as I might, I couldn't bring myself to hold you. It's a secret I kept tucked inside my chest. With this heart of mine that's guilty, not remorseful, there is love that doesn't have a place to rest. But it would have buried you if it had settled on your shoulders. Ooey 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 oo. On some level, I think I always understood that a ship could never really love an anchor, so I did the only thing I could and severed the rope to set you sailing from my harbour. Ooh, you. There are times when I still wonder about you. You are someone I have loved but never known, and you'll never see the reasons I had for keeping my claws away when they were close enough to hurt you. I'm selfish, I'm broken, I'm cruel. Good God, this is such a Darrow song. I'm all the things they might have said to you. Do you ever think of me and my two hands and wonder why they never soothed your fevers? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, it's such a sad song. Oh. I kind of want to introduce a brand new character, but we've already got 3. Oh, it's so sad. Oh. Oh, it's so sad too. Ooey, 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 ooey. What's the last line? Oh, ooey, ooey, ooey. Okay. Alright, well, that is very Dewnup. They probably wake the next day and they find some food, they pick up on their adventure again, they keep going, and Dewnup is feeling very clumsy, not clever, and very scared of this big world. Maybe the world keeps getting bigger as well. So they've gone past this big phase civilization, they've come out into the huge world, they keep seeing huge, vast creatures, and these aren't giant creatures, these aren't giants, these are just normal-sized creatures, because Dewnup is about, I think we said, 3 inches tall, something like that, and Stimper's only about 4 or 5 inches tall, and the witch is probably just a little bit taller than them, so they are all tiny in comparison to just the world in general, and everything keeps getting bigger every time they move. And even to Stimper now, who can fly, everything is just seeming huge and vast, and Dewnup is feeling small and clumsy, and he still wants to go on the adventure. He's desperate to find Lilipah, but he's just feeling lost in it and so clumsy and small. Like, how on earth am I going to do this? And I'm going to ignore the couldn't bring myself to hold you, because that's not very Dewnup. A secret I tucked inside my chest with this heart of mine that's guilty, not remorseful. There's a love that doesn't have a place to rest, but it would have buried you if it had settled on your shoulders. Okay, so again, I'm going to take a little bit of that. So a lot of that can be Stimper. So that heart inside his chest, that buried heart, that love, he's still got that for his ex. He's still trying to get over that this entire adventure. I mean, it's only been a couple of days at this point since he, walked in on his, I think, girlfriend slash fiance sleeping with a person he knew in their mushroom and then kicked him out, and he was begging her to please love him back outside the door. It was so sad. So he's only had a couple of days. He hasn't gotten over this at all. And it's still, maybe every time he, goes to sleep, he has dreams about her and he wakes up very, very sad, and Dewnup is patting his shoulder and saying, oh, it'll be all right, buddy. One day it'll all be all right. Tomorrow, that kind of thing. And the witch, in her wisdomosity way, can clearly understand what's going on. She doesn't need a lot of context. And so she makes them some tea, which always helps, obviously. And so she talks to him a little bit about, life always goes on, and the worst thing that you could possibly do is stagnate, and almost that would let her win. She would win then. She would have gotten everything and be left you with nothing. You're on an adventure. You're already so much better than you were before. Imagine living like that. You'd be unhappy. And he does know that she's right, but he's still got this secret tucked inside his chest of, I think I'm still in love with her, I still love her, how can I get rid of it? It would have buried you if it settled on your shoulders. So maybe that's turning it around on him. Maybe that's a line from the witch saying, it would have buried you if it had settled on your shoulders. So if you'd kept loving her and stayed there, it would have buried you because eventually you would have found out and it would have been so much worse. Imagine living like that. Ooey, 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 ooey. I'm going to give the ooey, 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 woo, 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 wah, wah, wah lines to other fairy creatures who are around them. Maybe they're ooh, 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 ooh. Maybe there's some gnomes going past and some dwarves. Maybe they're ooh, 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 off on the way to work, that kind of thing. And the creatures around them keep getting bigger as well. So even fairies, where the world that they lived in, the civilization they were all around, the fairies were quite small as well. You had like fairies and pixies that were the size that Stimper is, but you also had tiny tinky little ones as well. But these ones are even bigger. Some of them bigger than they are, some of them bigger than the witch. But to someone who is more humanoid sized, these would still be very small creatures. And everything suddenly shoots up, like the trees suddenly seem to get even bigger, which does mean that the distances between them are bigger, so they don't have to pick through them to find their way, but also it's so vast that it's getting quite scary, and they've come to the edge of the witch's swamp. She does agree to keep going with them though, because she's fascinated by the world in general, and also she really likes them. They're very sweet. She wants to help them. So ooh 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 is by the creatures singing all around them as they go off and do their own things. They can hear whoosh, bits of magic from the fairies too. On some level, I think I always understood that a ship can never really love an anchor. Now, maybe again, this can be conversations with Stimper as they're going through, and he can be saying, on some level, I should have always known. And the witch says, well, a ship can't love an anchor. She would have dragged you down, you would have been unhappy. And so that's a conversation that keeps happening between those two. And Dewnup does join in as well, and he does his absolute best. He isn't as old as they are, so he doesn't quite understand all of the dynamics of it, but he can still, give he can give help and support and everything like that. I'm selfish, I'm broken, I'm cruel, I'm all the things they might have said to you. Do you ever think of me in my two hands? So this can be Stimper wondering if she thinks of him, wondering if she has regretted her decision. And yeah, let's move on to the next song because that's just so sad. All right, next. Bing. Oh, I know this song. It is Superman by Sandy Tom. Okay, these lyrics are not on Spotify, so bear with me 1 second. Some of us are reaching for stardust, some of us are digging for gold, but it won't mean a lot on a mountaintop when the wind reaches out for your soul. I'm going to take this sort of verse by verse because I really want to do something with this. Some of us are digging for stardust, some of us are reaching for gold. So that's something that no one really in this party is doing. The witch is after helping the creatures and learning. Stimper is after bettering himself and distracting himself and, just becoming a better person and having an adventure. And Dewnup is after finding his friend. None of them are here for essentially personal gain. Personal growth, yes, but personal gain, no. And so maybe they pass them opportunities. Maybe a few more days pass and they have opportunities. They see almost tests of their not emotional state, tests of their will, really, willpower almost. So they pass maybe mines that have gold in them. Maybe there are fey traps as well because the world is getting so much bigger. Maybe they see gold and jewels that have been scattered and left, and it almost looks as if someone has run away and left things scattered behind them, but actually it's all a trap. Maybe the witch shows it to them and she lets them look for a while because she knows about these traps. And Stimper and Dewnup look, and while they're intrigued by this gold and the coins and the treasure, that's not what they're there for. And so they might approach and look, and Dewnup sort of looks high up at this big mountain of gold coins and jewelry, something like that, and just goes, huh, shiny. Okay. And then they keep going to go and find Lilipah. And the witch, seeing that she has been proved right in her assessment that these two are good people, she stops them and she says, no, wait, look. And they watch as she points and she shows them where there are hidden ropes in the vines and the ivy, or where there's a trick step in the floor under the leaves. And she shows them, it's all a trap, you see, to trap the greedy adventurer. You go there, you'll trigger that, it'll snatch you up or drop you down into the pit. Be wary of the fey traps. They love to test those wandering their realms, you know. And so they take this deeply to heart, and they think, oh goodness me. Dewnup is then paranoid, thinking everything might be a trap. He accidentally steps on a mushroom and goes, oh no, I'm so sorry, and he gets really panicky about it. And the witch says, no, don't worry, my dear. She repairs the mushroom with magic and it's all fine. But she does reassure them both as well, and says that the fae in these parts of the woods only test people. They're not punishing them for accidents. They are testing morality, that kind of thing. The next verse is, some of us stand in the spotlight waiting for a round of applause. When the people go home, you're left alone to face the sadness behind closed doors. I don't want the sun, don't want you to run, don't want a Superman, I don't need Wonderland, I just want you to love me. Some of us want silver linings to be the belle of the ball. Going down in a blaze of glory, the story means nothing at all. I don't want the sun, don't want you to run, I just want Superman, I don't need Wonderland, just want you to love me. I don't want stars or Venus or Mars, don't want Superman, don't need Wonderland, just want you to love me. That is ultimately something, just to keep coming back to Stimper, that is something that he is going to be constantly battling with through this. Again, it's only been a few days. He can't have gotten over it all that quickly. And while he's not our main character, he is one of our main characters, and he is a focus as well. So he is really struggling internally with the, I just want her to love me. Why didn't she love me? What could I possibly have done? And it keeps going back and forth. And while he is getting better at appreciating what she did was terrible, I shouldn't go back, I don't want to, not really, he can't get rid of that love. It doesn't have anywhere to go yet. And we're going to do another song, because I feel like that's as much as we can get out of that one for now. Yay, adverts!
Spotify Premium lets you explore a catalogue of millions of songs with
I've watched the most recent season of Black Mirror. I am aware that everything is a subscription service. Oh, yes! Drunken Lullabies from Flogging Molly. Excellent. Whoever suggested this, you are a beaut. Okay, I'm gonna stop it, I'm sorry. So, must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again? 500 years like Gillenite have blown us all to hell. What saviour rests while on his cross we die? Forgotten freedom burns. Has the shepherd led his lambs astray to the bigot and the gun? Must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again? Because we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. I watch and stare into Rosalind's eyes, turn a darker shade of red, and the bullet within their sniper lie in their bloody gutless cell. Must we starve on crumbs from long ago? 3 bars that these men steal. Is it a great or little thing we fought, knelt the conscious blessed to kill? Must it take a life for hateful eyes to glisten once again? Because we find ourselves in the same old mess, singing drunken lullabies. Okay, I'm going to focus on the drunken lullaby section. So, they hear singing. I'm going to put this down. They hear singing, and it's huge and loud and scary because it's by these, to them, vast creatures. They're probably actually about the size of the average human or elf, but to this tiny little group, they are massive. And they hear this, what sounds like almost caterwauling. Now, this is coming from we'll say drunk humans and elves, but they don't know that. And so to them, it almost sounds like and they think it's a horrible, terrifying monster. Maybe they're moving in a group as well, and they've got torchlight. Maybe they're waving candles and stuff as well. Although, no, we didn't say what time of day it was. This can be pushing into the next evening. So again, they're following the trails of those flowers that have been left. And this place is vast and huge and terrifying, and they start to see shadows and weird shadows in this group moving in this light that's being scattered at these people as they're carrying their lanterns and stuff, and they hear this wailing noise and they all stop and they huddle into the sort of foot of this great vast tree, and they watch as this huge group of people come plodding towards them. And some of them are very, very drunk, sort of drunken sailor drunk. Some of them are just a little bit tipsy and swerving all over the place. And a couple of them are slightly more sober, and they are carrying the tune, really. And they're singing these drunken lullabies, and they stare up this trio. They stare up at this group of people. And Stimper flies up to go and get a closer look to try and see them. And they all spot Stimper as he's flying around. And they are aware of this forest. They are humans or humanoid and elves. They live in this realm, so they know that there are little creatures everywhere. And so Stimper flies up, and he's thinking immediately, not of himself, but the other two, and he has a little sort of a panic. And maybe the reason he flew up was to intercept them and to sort of say, wait. And Stimper will call out to them, waving his arms, trying to get their attention. And some of them, there's a bug. And some of them will finally notice him, and he'll call out and say, please, no, wait, you're going to step on my friends. Please, be careful, and sort of throwing caution to the winds because they could smack him out of the air and he could die. And suddenly he's very afraid because he's very high in the sky just to get eye level with these creatures. And even the tree that he got to the top of with Dewnup all those many hours ago, where they were sitting in the bar, it was nowhere near as high as these people stand tall. Even the trees back then weren't particularly tall, maybe, or maybe it just feels worse because he's flown all the way up and he can see all the way down, that kind of thing. And he calls out to them to tell them to stop, be careful, my friends are down there. And the couple of sober ones sort of look down and go, oh, hey, little guy, and hello, and they lean down and they say, would you like a lift? Where are you going? And the others who are a bit drunk still sing all their sort of drunken lullabies going, yeah. And let's look at the song again. Maybe it's the way we're taught, maybe it's the way we fought. A smile never grins without tears to begin. For each kiss is a cry we all lost, though nothing is left to gain. For the banshee that stole the grave, because we find ourselves in the same old mess singing drunken lullabies. Alright, weirdly from that, I have taken it that they are on a stag do, or the Fey equivalent of a stag do. Don't ask me how I got there, because I just did. And this is going to do two things. One, they're all very friendly, and while some of them are a little bit drunk on, sort of nectar, pollen, wine, whatever the Fey equivalent of that is, whatever. So they're all a little bit tipsy, and the two sober ones, or slightly soberer ones, they offer to give a lift to the little guys. And they say, well, we're following these flowers, and they try to explain, I've lost my friend, and we think that, we're going to follow the flowers, that's where we're going. And they say, like, sure, we're not going anywhere in particular. Why not? Adventure for the stag night, everyone? And they all say, yes! And they drink some more wine, probably out of, horns or something like this, or egg cups, something like that. They drink it all, and they go, yes! To the flowers! And they can't really see them very well from up there, so Stimper is sort of leading the way because the flowers are tiny little dinky ones that have been lit up by these orbs of light. And so he flies on ahead, keeps checking back on them, looking down at the ground and soaring back up. This way, that way, lead us, little firefly guy. And they're all having a great time. And they discover talking to each other what's going on, and they say like, oh, why are you guys together? What are you doing? The witch maybe asks it, or maybe Dewnup does, so you guys seem happy and excited. What are you doing tonight? You've all got colourful clothes on. What are you doing? And they say, well, it's this guy. And they all clap him on the shoulder, this elf with huge, long ears and these waggly eyebrows and this big, massive grin and this long sort of, I don't want to go too artigan and have red hair. So we'll go with a sort of, screw it, we'll go green. Big green hair twiddling down and lots of like sticks and things. Maybe a very natural nature elf, that kind of thing. Maybe a ranger type of elf. And it's this guy's stag do because next week he's getting hitched. He's getting married to the best elf in the world. And so we are all best mates and we're going to celebrate. And this makes Stimper a little bit sad. And he sort of has a lip quivery moment of, oh, I should have had a stag night myself. And he tells his tale of woe when they ask him, buddy, what happened? And they're all very sweet about it, and the others comfort him. And at one point they sort of let him sit in their hands so he doesn't have to fly while he's telling them this story. And they're walking along. Well, they're wobbling along, but the sober ones are carrying them and holding them very nicely. The witch and Dewnup, they're each in a different hand, and the guys are looking at the tiny little hedgehogs going, whoa, look at the tiny little guys, and the hedgehogs think the whole thing is hilarious, and they're all having a lovely time, and they're making very good friends with their slightly drunk group, and they are going through these massive tall trees, but they're making great progress. They're going millions of times faster than they could have done with their tiny little strides when they were on the forest floor. And they managed to sort of help Stimper a little bit because he's saying, oh, well, yes, and he tells them about being kicked out of his own mushroom, and bloody, what's his name, Drew, that she's with now? Drew, who works at the mill. He's just better than me. And they say like, no, he's not. Because you know what? You wouldn't bed down with someone else's fiancé. And look, where's Drew now? He's not on this adventure. He's not helping out this little fluff guy. You are 10 million times the pixie that Drew will ever be. And he goes, oh, really? But I still love her. And they go, well, of course you do. Of course you do. Of course you love her because you're a good man. You're a good man, but you can make that love go away, and it will fade in time, and you can fit it into something else. You keep that love, and they sort of toe back on themselves a little bit. And maybe the groom says to him, or the groom-to-be says to him, well, you don't have to, and he's very drunk, you don't have to get rid of the love, just turn it into love for something else. You can love adventure, you can love yourself, You can love us lot. You can love wine. Wine's good. I love wine. I love wine a lot. Not as much as I love my future partner, but I love wine. You could love wine too. Maybe you'll love wine. Maybe you'll love this adventure. You could love your friends. You can love so many things. You don't have to bottle up that love. Or bottle it and sell it. I'd buy some love. Who else would buy some love? And so the conversation deteriorates from there. But that's how it carries on as they keep going on this adventure. Now, I missed last week's episode, so I will do you a couple more songs to add on to this one, so it'll be a slightly longer video. So here comes the next one. Drunken Lullabies turned out so insane. All right. Welcome to the show, let everybody know. Well, this is The Code by Nemo, and I've got no idea how I'm going to fit this in, but we will find a way. So, welcome to the show, let everybody know I'm done playing the game, I'll break out of the chains. You better buckle up, I'll pour another cup. This is my bohem, so drink it up, my friend. I mean, weirdly, this could also be the drunken stag party, and potentially it could also be Stimper too. The story is my truth. I went to hell and back to find myself on track. I broke the code. Like Ammonites to give it some time. Now I find paradise. I broke the code. Let me tell you a tale about life, about the good and the bad, the better to hold on tight. What decides what's wrong, what's right? Everything is balance, everything is light. I've got so much on my mind. Ooh, everything is balance, everything is light. I like that. So much on my mind, been awake all night. I'm pumped, I'm so psyched. Everything is balance, everything is light. I really like that. So who decides what's wrong and what's right? Everything is balance, everything is light. This can be, I don't want it to be another piece of the world lore necessarily. Okay. This idea of everything is balanced and everything is light. This can be something that maybe the three of them start to talk about as they're getting carried. Maybe the stag do are singing some more songs. They're walking, they're following these flowers, and they come to this beautiful sort of waterfall and this huge river. And the stag party says, of course we'll get you across, of course we'll get you across. And maybe they have to turn another way because they need to get home the next day, they need to get ready for the wedding and everything. But they take them across this river. They create them across all these stones and everything, and they get to the other end, and it's just light, and the trees have really separated now. They're massive trees, but they've started to thin out. And this part of the world is turning more sort of grassy and floral. So it's getting a little bit harder to spot the magical flowers, which have sprouted and got glistening because they got, you know, the lights went over them. But it does mean they can see better. And it's now this sort of huge, vast, grassy plain, and they can see so many different colors, and there's berries and bushes with all these wonderful fruits. They're never going to starve in this valley, but they have to make it all the way through. They can see sort of glimmers of glistening flowers, and as they look forwards and forwards and forwards ahead, they're in this huge, big dip of a valley, almost between two mountains covered in grass, and it's beautiful, but it's also quite daunting because it's quite far away. And as they wave goodbye to the stag do, have a wonderful wedding. Yes, have a wonderful wedding and a wonderful life. Thank you so much for your lift. We really appreciated it. Yes, my dears, thank you very much. And don't forget to look me up if you're ever in that side of the swamp. And they all wave goodbye and everything. And they set off through this massive, beautiful green valley, picking berries and eating them. And they're all having quite a nice time now. They've all dried off. They're warm. They're cozy. The sun is out, bursting in the sky. There's barely a cloud. There's birds overhead. There's occasional fairies and winged creatures and everything just flying around. It's all very, very beautiful. The epitome of the Feywild, the most beautiful and sort of sparse area. And this is where we'll have a little bit more lore, because the witch will start to speak and she will look at the world. And Dewnup is, you know, smaller than a lot of the blades of grass. And he is looking out and going, you know, wow, every time I think I've got to the very edge, there's just more. And the witch will start to talk about how, oh, well, everything is balance and everything is light. Of course, there's shadow and dark too, but you mustn't fear the dark and the shadows, for they are equal to the light in every way. You cannot fear the dark, or else you'd never see the stars or the moons, just as you cannot fear the daylight, or things would never bloom and grow. Each has its own pull and its own sway. Our very waters and oceans are swayed by our moons, the currents flowing back and forth. Don't ever be afraid of the unknown and the dark, will you, Dewnup? And Dewnup nods and sniffs and pulls his rucksack further up his back and goes, I won't be. And internally he's thinking, I'll try. And they all carry on through this valley. And that's kind of the only line I want to take from this. It was very beautiful, very poignant line. So we'll have one more song, all right? One more song. And this will lead us to whatever's happening next in the story. So what is at the edge of this valley? Ooh. I've got a feeling this is a new character. So this is Black Roses by Escondido. Sorry about that. Escondido. White dress blows in the wind. This is definitely a new character. White dress blows in the wind, and the dust whips up all those memories of you once again. Oh, darling, once again. A silence, a hush so complete. Okay, this immediately is right. They get to the end of this valley. They have to make camp a few times. They travel for many, many days. Maybe within the whole story, maybe 2 weeks has gone by. 2 weeks has gone by on this search for Lilipah. And they reach the end of this valley. And it's sort of on a slope. And it's one of those moments of, oh, what's on the other side of the mountain? And they make a few jokes, and maybe they sing the other side of the mountain as they're going up it. And just as they reach the top, they see this glistening, almost wall of spectral light. And at first they think it might be a gathering of fireflies or fairies or something, but it's not. It's almost a film across the world, and it's shimmering, and it's making everything beyond it blurry. They can see green and shapes, but they can't make anything out. And they hear this sort of humming, and it's not quite a voice, it's not quite vocals, but it's not quite singing, but it's not quite music either. It's just this sort of noise. And as they listen to it, they each start to remember things, almost lapse into visions of memory. For Dewnup, it's visions of playing with Lilipah and laughing under those beautiful coloured lights that night before Lilipah disappeared. For Stimper, it's a few years ago, the last truly happy moment that he remembers having with his partner slash fiance, and they were dancing. And there was light there as well, beautiful light, brilliant light. They'd maybe been out for a beautiful dinner and they were dancing in the village square. There was a dance going on, there was music and lights. And that's one of the last times he remembers feeling safe and happy with her. And the witch, Rita, is probably thinking about she's a fairly cheerful, fairly happy character, so I think she's probably just thinking about an average day where everything was nice. And she went to the well, she got some water, she met a new hedgehog. She said, "Oh, hello, my dear." And the hedgehog that was at home, his leg had healed and he could run about. And she met a woodpecker who played her a new song he'd been writing. And she just had a lovely day. And they're all thinking about this, and their memories are washing over them. And then this silence falls. A silence, a hush so complete. So there's a complete silence, a hush that falls, and even in their memories, they can't hear the voices or the laughter anymore. They can't hear the music. Everything has just gone zoom, silent. Just the bell of the church ringing out in the street. So we won't have a church, obviously, but we'll have a bell, and they can hear this ding, ding. Ah, for you, oh darling, is it you? Maybe that's the voice, and an ethereal voice, comes out of this nothingness, this quiet, with the bell, between the bell sounds you hear, all for you, darling, is it you? The black roses speak of you, the black roses whisper, it still floats around, they whisper of you. And black roses spring up from the floor, sort of pop, 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 and they're beautiful, but they're melancholy, and it says, all the heads are hung low, and my friends are nowhere to be found. So the black roses, they spring up, pop, but they immediately sort of wilt. And in this silence, the bell, ding, keeps dinging, sort of off in the background a little bit, ding. My friends are nowhere to be found, oh darling, is it you? So this is someone who's intensely, oh God, intensely lonely, very, very lonely, longing and looking for their friends, okay? And they're causing people to get lost in their memories because that's what they're focused on. So they're lost in this magic enchantment of trying to remember their friends and keep their memories alive because they can't find them. And all these black roses have sprung up. Whisper still floats around, all the heads are hung low, my friends are nowhere to be found. Darling, is it you? This voice calls again. Darling, is it you? To be young, to be just at the start, when all that you know is longing lay down in your heart. Okay, so maybe the voice slowly forms into a creature, a person, a shape. And as the voice keeps talking, darling, is it you? Darling, is it you? it notices that obviously these three people are not the friends that they're talking about. And so that's when the line of, oh, to be young, to be just at the start. And obviously they don't mean literally. Maybe Dewnup is the one, to be young, to be just at the start. Maybe that's to each of them. So to be young again, to be just at the start of becoming you, of your adventure. And that's the Stimper. When all you know is longing to lay down your heart, oh darling, it was you, because the black roses only speak of you. So they don't necessarily say anything to the witch specifically. The other two are at the start of their journeys, the start of their adventures. Maybe they turn to the witch, and as they turn, they recognize another powerful magic user, and maybe they say, perhaps you can help at last. And I might leave it till next time to decide what form this creature takes. So we've got this big wall of sort of webby, misty magic, and this voice and this bell dinging. And someone is lost in memories and looking for their friends who have obviously gone missing. All right, that's where we shall leave it. You want to name this creature? In fact, chuck in any ideas for this creature that you have in the comments down below, because I don't have to take it from a song. I can take it from you guys as well. As ever, if you don't want to post things publicly, you can DM me. That's absolutely fine. And over on the Instagram, I will post a thing asking for more songs. Any of the songs that didn't get used in this week, I will keep them on the playlist for next time as well. So chuck me more songs, any ideas, thoughts, whatever you want in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you for engaging with this content, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.